Hello and welcome to session 3 of Against the Fae Queen, a time-traveling hack of Against the Dark Conspiracy using the Fate of Cthulhu timeline, uh, the Fate of the Fae Queen, developed by Shane of the Gauntlet. Last session, the players took their first operation to fight the future and infiltrated the Met Gala to retrieve a lost manuscript that was stolen in the original timeline. They discovered that the original thieves were actually a pair of Delta Green agents, Rook and Rowan, and through some aggressive negotiation, they managed to recruit her as a contact, a friendly within Delta Green. That wasn't enough to get her the entirety of Delta Green on board. Delta Green is very much a shoot the weirdos in the back of the head first, ask questions later sort of operation. But she's convinced that fairies might exist, and she will help you. And she is now available as an information broker and contact. And the way I imagine that is that they're probably not going to have a huge amount of info about the fake conspiracy itself, but they are going to be tapped into all kinds of police networks, FBI, blah, blah, blah. You know, you have got your route in to what you would not normally have had. And they also encountered their first present day Fae. One, Robin Guterkel, which is German for good fellow or good boy, or translations are hard, right? But Robin Goodfellow, the infamous fairy, sometimes known as Puck of Midsummer Night's Dream and many other appearances. And after some threatening in the corridor and the grenade strike on a bunch of goblins that were going to attack Gilgamesh, they drove her off, and she watched them disappear with a cackle on her face and through a second smile that she'd cut herself. But the players also managed to avoid to change the future in two different ways. So one, they got the manuscript and know the secrets that it holds, which were previously lost to the future. And this has opened up the ability for them to spend intel on the Queen and to investigate the terminal operation, which will be the final thing against the Queen, which we'll come to whether or not we'll ever get around to that. It's mostly an experiment. And the second thing that the manuscript revealed was that long ago, in the days of fairy tales, there were two queens, two different courts of the queens, and then there was one, and the Fae Queen seized power, and that was when she threatens the mortal world. Truly, is it when she rules all of fairy? And this happened once long ago, and great heroes arose, heroes of the light, that fought against the dark in olden times, in the days of the eagle, and the Celts and the pagans. And they drove out the Fae Queen using a blade gifted from the last member of this rival court, the Vorpal blade, which went snicker-snack and cut her heart out. But the Fae Queen was always heartless, so that didn't kill her. It just drove her off. So you do have the weakness of the Vorpal blade. Now, you don't have the Vorpal blade, you just know that it's a weakness. Now, that is now a lead that you could pursue to find the Vorpal blade. The Vorpal blade is kind of, the silver bullet kind of thing, the best weapon against the Queen. That doesn't mean that there aren't other ones that it's not a necessary one, but I thought this is where I sort of deviate from the one timeline event, one operation, 4 operations done kind of style, because I thought it's more interesting to have open leads and stuff. Maybe you'll get around to them, maybe you won't. And I think that about wraps it up on terms of the recap. I have annoyingly managed to misplace where I wrote all of that down. So I did all of that off the top of my head. There we go. Cool. Saving all the celebrities removed a power from the Queen as well, and changed the terminal operation in your favor, essentially. I'm debating how much of that to reveal meta-wise and how much of that to keep, but rest safe in the knowledge that everything you do that is a success does change the future in your favor, and you will know some of that when you come to the terminal operation, if. But we return to the safe house, where having dropped Agent Rowan with a bag over her head somewhere on the New York Underground, where she will claim that she was knocked out and woke up this way, and will lie through her teeth and try and cover things up as much as possible. You do also have a tracker within the book that has been stolen by the forensics team that went to clean up your mess. And the newspapers and the headlines and the radio and everything, there is a red alert around New York for a terrorist attack, heightened security everywhere because somebody threw a pair of grenades in the Met Gala Museum while a bunch of celebrities were inside, and another person pumped nauseating gas into the ventilation system, all for a good cause. That nauseating gas did save them from eating enchanted fairy food, but it's a fairly significant event, I would say. Now, I was a little bit kind in that because Robin Goodfellow survived, I do then get to tick suspicious all the way up to alarmed in terms of my heat clock. And I debated whether or not I should then take the excess heat that you generated thanks to your actions and put that on top. But I thought I'd be gentle, and I'll just play that one by ear, frankly. So I think we come to what's next with these leads that you have here. You have the red shoes, what mask, what music, as the name of the operation is. You have the power of story and the Cochet, Alexandra Cochet, and you have the servants of the Queen, the Wild Hunt's appearance in a small town in the Catskills. So, kindly, 2 of our players did voice their opinions. 2 of our players neglected their duties. Will be punished for it. Or maybe the other 2 will just be rewarded for it. I don't know. So Mr. Clock still feels strongly about going to see the Red Shoes to save people from the dancing plague that decimated the world and left it vulnerable to the Queen's influence. And Professor Vogel is looking to stop the power of story, the Cochet mob. Is this in some way motivated by, did they tell you that Alexandra Cochet was the man who shot your son in the future?
It is revenge. But also remember that before we can kill the Queen, we have to kill the general. And Cochet is her right hand. And I also thought that maybe, and he looks shyly at Felicity, maybe some underground contacts within our group could be helpful.
What kind of underground contacts do you need, Professor?
Well, I seem to recall that you had a run-in with the mob.
If by run-in you mean, look, let's just not talk about that. You know, well, it's the old thing about I don't want to tell you because then I'd have to kill you.
I don't want to know, but yeah. I would love to know what you know about the Russian mafia in New York, because that is where this would lead us.
One thing that you do know, Felicity Quinn, is that Peroni did a lot of Graziano Petroni. He was your boss, but he worked with the Russian, you know, he was mostly Italian or affiliated, strictly speaking, but business is business. And he was happy to be a middleman for all kinds of interested parties, including the Russians.
Well, and then Tony Thumbs might know something.
He owes
me for not shooting him.
You also know that the Russian mafia is not a single cohesive unit.
Now there's various sects and
various
organizations,
as they are called. No Litsky Braffa, though, thankfully.
Dealt with those bastards enough for one lifetime.
Rumor has it that things aren't going very well for the Litsky Brava for some reason. Over in Europe, they've just been murdered en masse by lots of mysterious explosions. But yeah, anyways.
Where do you think I get the idea from?
So we've heard Professor Vogel's argument. I think we believe we know Mr. Clock's argument, right, Paul? It's stop the dance, save the world, save the people.
Yeah, the red shoes, the dancing plague kills by far the most. So it's a humanitarian effort, I believe, that we stop the red shoes, the dancing plague. It's also located in New York, so we don't have to travel far for that. And I'm hopeful that it won't lead to mass slaughter, which I believe engaging a Russian mob outfit probably would. So I think this would be less of a exposure operation. Only dealing with a single person, a DJ. I don't think he could be that bad, rather than a mob outfit. That's my argument.
DJ Bug is a she, just for the record. Yeah. And in fact, I believe I put them into the Faces and Places because it occurred to me, hell, you would know who DJ Bug is. Their flyers survived into the future. But yeah, her name is Hallie Christine Anderson. I'll never stop with the references. They give me great pleasure.
Is she a Belgique racist?
A Belgique racist? Why?
Hans Christian Andersen was a horrendous racist.
Oh yes, but he made so many beloved fairy tales available. I would imagine the Brothers Grimm weren't particularly nice about foreigners either, frankly.
Yeah, was Hans Christian Andersen like at that baseline racism, or was he racist even for his time, like H.P. Lovecraft?
Either way, he's dead, and I'm going to move swiftly on from it. So we've heard that. Now, Gilgamesh. I think we've heard that Quinn is happy with either.
I think that what we know from the future is that the plague starts now or very soon. I mean, the op says tonight, but that's whichever night we come to it. I think we're on the clock for that in a way that we're not on a clock for the Bratva, or not on such a clock. We've got evidence to suggest if we don't intervene soon, then the plague may start. And therefore, I think that we need to stop it.
And I think there's another thing that I wasn't quite sure how to, but I think there's another reason that maybe Michael Enders would love to stop it.
And that is because his brother is consumed by it.
No, it's because his brother
is he actually there?
Is in attendance at the Red Shoes.
Okay.
In fact, you look at the name of the club, you look at the thing and you realize your brother never told you where he was going those nights, never told you where he was going out to party, where he was sneaking in underage. But you can see he's followed DJ Bug on Facebook. He's clicked attending the gig. He's going. So I'm going to mark one heat. And he is going to be, I think I know I'm going to configure, I'm going to mess around with missing and target and taken at some point for this to have them be like slightly more kind of maybe like threatened. You know what I mean?
Missing is, I mean, it's meant to be, you're not entirely certain what their status is.
Yeah. Okay, so I think this is as good an opportunity for a good time for you've had your mission, your pitch kind of thing. We've decided on the Red Shoes, I think, at this point. Let us now see whether or not we want to do Seek Relief from the Horror. And I'll go in reverse character keeper order, because that's kind of decreasing, Paul's on the least stress of everyone. Mr. Clock, unflappable. Mechanical, one might say. Horst, would you like to seek relief from the horror? Have a scene with that? You can find them on the second Confront and Relief tab, the options, from row 32 down. You're muted, though.
Yeah, I was just babbling, so you didn't miss anything. Seek solace in a relationship, behave badly. I mean, I could behave badly for an academic. I'm not going to hit anyone, but
again,
he says, well, do I have to roll first?
no, you frame the scene and then we roll to see how it goes.
Yeah, I think after the vote, everybody voted for the red shoes except Vogel. He will get up and I don't know, maybe knock over something more accidentally or clumsily than in actual rage, and says, "You all forgotten who led you in the future, which is my brother and
son, I believe,
or son. Sorry,
yeah.
You've forgotten about him really quickly." And then he storms off, I guess.
Who's the target of that verbal abuse?
Especially it's Gilgamesh. I don't know. Do you think that the professor knows anything about your reason for choosing the red shoes? That it's all like it's the real reason is humanity is more like your excuse.
No, I think you know what I said, which is this is all about the time.
Yeah,
it's time pressure. I look at Michael's picture in the Character Keeper. This is not a man who shares easily.
Yeah. So
anymore.
So I don't believe behaving badly is linked to a specific person. But you do need to name someone in particular. I think you've named Gilgamesh as this one.
Yeah.
So if you'd like to roll one dice now.
I roll one dice. One die. Let's see. Where's on which tab is the dice roller?
It is
Conspiracy
now,
Lines and Veils.
It's also now in the chat, Zoom chat.
Okay, too late. Hold on. I should have done that before. I apologize. Here's the link. Now, Vogel. One die coming up. Let's go. It is a 6. That must be good.
You reduce stress by 2 total. But I think that this is gonna, I mean, Gilgamesh, I mean, these words about Holger.
I think I say, to make it like a verbal abuse, you're a coward because you don't want to confront, the general.
No, I think that'll have negligible effect on Gilgamesh. I think the accusation that he doesn't care about Holger is the one that hurts. To be honest, he gave up his life to get us here. It is legitimate that you should be pissed off at that, and that I feel guilty about it. So 4+, and they are an operator. They take it really badly. Agree with them why they are so hurt, because on the one hand, Gilgamesh hasn't shared the real reason, which is akin to the relationship that Vogel had with his son. And on the other hand, he does feel an enormous amount of survivor guilt for having come through the gate to summer, or the summer gate to the past, and left Holger behind.
He was supposed to be here leading this.
He was, and therefore I will roll for stress. I'll use the stress dice. It's not enough to push me over the edge, though.
No,
it's just a 1.
You just remember, what would Holger say?
Well, Holger would say,
the mission.
Focus on the mission.
Yeah.
Look at the mission parameters.
Yeah. We're all already dead. This is the only way we get to live, kind of thing. Yeah. I love time travel. You get to say so many fatalistic shit to go on. Now, I just want to remind everyone that these scenes do not have to be here. We have a flexible amount of time between operations and things, and so Felicity, would you like to seek relief?
Oh yes, very much so. I think as I hear to me what sounds like bickering. I'm finally just going to put my foot down and say, listen, there are people that are going to die tonight if we don't do something.
So who are you directing that at? And what, I mean, which one of those is it?
I feel like I'm directing that at Vogel.
Pursuing him from the safe house into the street.
Well, and pointing out, it's like, of everybody here, I have the most reason to be on his side. But for fuck's sake, I have killed a lot of people. I don't sleep well. Maybe I'll sleep a little bit better if instead of killing somebody, I actually try to save somebody for once.
Maybe you should have killed so many people in the first place then. Bit late, isn't it?
Now, I would say this is either behave badly, and I don't think this is really reading like behave badly to me, because you're not insulting Vogel, you're not saying how bad he is. But what I think it could be is that you're almost trying to convince him and you're looking for guidance, your contrition about killing people. That sounds more like what it says, because it's look for guidance, right? But it's almost like you're trying to persuade him to persuade yourself about these things, right? Like Vogel is your listening board almost, to say that like I could save people rather than kill them this time. Does that work?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah. I
Because
think it depends
it's
on
definitely not
whether,
behaving badly.
yeah, I think it depends on whether Horst is up for being convinced, depending on the role, basically. Yeah.
I'm cool.
Cool. Well, if you'd like to roll.
And probably Vogel would have reacted differently.
All right. I'm going to roll the stress die just because I'm looking at a 6 on expertise and I've got a 4.
You got a 4. So on a 4, what do you ask Quinn to do, Vogel? This stone cold killer who has just told you that they've killed many people in the past. You know that they work for some of the worst people in the world. And they're with you now, but there's got to be something a bit scary about this woman, you know, a bit depressing, a bit like you wouldn't want your son to end up like this, for example, right?
Mm-hmm.
So what do you do? What do you ask of Quinn that's going to either draw the attention of the conspiracy or make things difficult? What difficult condition are you going to put on them?
Describe what they ask you to do to restore their belief in you, and how. So their belief in me is shattered.
Your belief in them. Your belief in them.
Oh,
You're
my
reading it the
belief.
wrong way around. You're the person they're going to for advice. It's not written as though it's an operator. It's written as though it's an NPC. But I like the idea of PCs being able to confide in each other.
Mhm.
I might make that a person who least or most important to question as well, you know.
So I'm my brain, it doesn't work that.
So
Restore.
imagine, right, that you're right. Don't forget about what the text says.
Okay.
Someone's confessed to you.
Yes.
What
that they killed a lot of people.
Yeah, and that this is their chance of saving somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
What is it that Vogel says to them to say that, like, prove it? You know, to say that this confession means this contrition is true rather than just an excuse.
So Vogel will turn around. He was about to leave the apartment, and Quinn went after him, and he turns around and he points his pipe at her, and he says, when we are at the club, I want you to promise me not a single person will die.
How about this? I won't kill anyone. Look, you know what the red shoes do. I may not be able to stop some people from being affected.
I think we could take
But
it as try to save them.
Mm-hmm. To try your best to save as many as possible.
And that's why I was shaping it as I won't kill anyone. You know, I'm going to try to save as many people as possible, and I'm not going to pull the trigger or chuck grenades or something along those lines.
Yeah. So let's if you
That
want to
fair?
put that down on a note somewhere on your thing, and you get to reduce 1 stress, but I also get to mark 1 heat for that result.
Because I think that argument does go on in the street rather than before you leave the apartment.
Oh, for sure, it does definitely. Yeah.
And
Yeah.
somebody overhears it. Yeah.
Ryan Froud is leaning out of his window having a smoke while Martha Würzenberger lies in the bed behind him talking about how crazy it was at the Met Gala. There were bombs, there were things, the police kept her there all night. Her dad was really pissed. You know, she had to come back here. It was the only way she could get away. And he's leaning out because like, and that crazy chick outside is having an argument with some old man. That's, you know, like, man. And yeah, so if you'd like to make a note of try and save people, Quinn, and you can't.
No, the phrasing that Puckett put to you was, "They won't kill someone."
But it's the phrasing that Horst decided, I think.
Yeah, it's both. I won't kill someone, and I'm going to try to save as many people as I can.
Okay, right. Okay.
So,
because Horst, I'm right in thinking that yours was more about like save people, and then Felicity turned it around into don't kill people.
Yeah, it's not enough to say, you know, I won't kill anyone. It's
I won't stand back while Gilgamesh slits someone's throat either, basically, that kind of thing. Yeah. Because otherwise you get the Batman, I can't kill you, but I don't have to save you either. Cool. Great. That went out as amazingly as I'd hoped. And now finally Gilgamesh. Not finally, secondary.
I think that I would like to indulge a vice. I'm going on another hot dog and burger binge.
No other vices. I mean, there are so many vices. Is the vice of perhaps creeping up on your old life, on yourself, on who you were, the past world that you'd forgotten, or is it just hot dogs, burgers, and nachos for?
Well, the alternative is that I seek out my brother and break his legs. But I'm going to hold off on that one for a moment. So no, I want to indulge. We've established that it is fried street food.
Pizza by the slice, right? You're going to go all the way out to Williamsburg. You're going to go out to that little place there, the best one. Get it by the slice, like hot pepperoni, man. Like, so good. I mean, you know, going to spend easily like the $20 that you've managed to scrabble out from the different places.
Yeah. So I'll reduce stress by 1 and roll the stress dice.
Mm-hmm.
It's been kind to me so far. That is a 2. I think we probably see me overeating and being sick in a dumpster. And that means that my expertise is not available until stress goes up again.
Yeah. I mean, all this processed food, all this grease and cheese and stuff, like, it's hard. The future did a lot for people's organic eating, or at least until the enchantment started coming into it. And then finally, Mr. Clock.
I will not seek relief from the stress.
You will not seek relief from the stress. Fair enough. I mean, it's too.
I would like to spend some intel, though.
You would like to spend some intel? Oh, yeah. Yes, you did spend some in that previous intel you had on Robin Goodfellow, because we let you spend 2.
You did. In order to bring me to my flat.
Yes,
the most I can have.
What was revealed by that is that she is fascinated by mischief. She is compelled to chaos and havoc. Well, to be honest. Deterrence, this was provided by Agent Rowan, who pieced through the CCTV footage of the night and the stories and the witness reports.
Mm-hmm.
And none of the food had salt on it by special request of the director. All of the salt was removed from the tables, everything. This was a Robin Goodfellow request.
Okay.
So she is clearly bothered by salt. The vulnerability is Puck, Robin Goodfellow. You know from the future that fairies that tend to change their fairies usually that change their name are often hiding their true name. But what that is, that's not known as to you as of yet. But rest assured, I will be putting opportunities to find that out in front of you as we go.
Fine. Well, I want to spend another one to recover Anka, who is missing. I am going to sneak up on my brother and give him a nasty crack on the knee, so he cannot attend the club tonight.
Nice. Is it perhaps after we see you throwing up in that dumpster, you know, and you're like, I used to come here all the time, right? It was like your favorite place to go in all of the 5 boroughs. And you see your brother leaving. The thing is, you step out, you're in the alleyway, and he walks
It
past
was
on
the
his phone.
family's favorite place to go.
Yeah.
And he's on his phone, and I notice a bit of pipe leaning against the side of the dumpster. And I know he's going to be there tonight, and he mustn't be there tonight. So I've spent my intel, and I've stopped him being missing.
Cool. I'd like you trying to do this without being seen.
Yes.
Yeah, and I think I would like you to roll do something else for this.
Okay.
Your small arms does apply.
Yeah, hand to hand. So I will
Be
apply
small, yeah.
that and expertise, and I will take a punt on the stress dice, because at least it could. I just break even. Let's have a look. That is a 5, so stress goes up.
Mm-hmm.
But that is success.
That is success. So he does not roll over and go, Michael.
He doesn't.
No.
He doesn't.
No.
People will see, a hooded homeless man going away, disappearing into the shadows,
Nice.
whispering, "I'm sorry, Peter. I'm sorry, Peter. I'm sorry, Peter. I'm sorry, Peter."
Nice. And that then brings us to the operation. Now I'm going to hide the other ones. We are on What Mask, What Music. So I'm going to hide the Power of Story, the Servants of the Queen, and the Rise of the Fey Queen. And we are on What Mask, What Music. The leads that you have here are the dancing shoes began. Oh, fuck's sake. The dancing play began at the Red Shoes, a club in New York, followed in the footsteps of DJ Bug, musical prodigy, of a best-selling author. Bug's producer was recently killed in a bloody fashion. And when I say recently, I mean like probably, last couple of days, like not long after you arrived back from the future.
And that's the key. When we read that, that's the reason why we have to intervene now. Because we know that days later, this all kicks off.
Yeah. I mean, this event, DJ Bug was not originally on the lineup, it seems, but shortly after the producer's death, they're booked onto this. And from here on, they're going to be touring the world and hitting every major festival, concert, everything across. This is what will spread the plague. And so we are now on to, I think, the investigation part of the game. I think I need to, for the purpose of this game, add somewhere on maybe the operators tab to maybe underneath the safe house to track ongoing leads versus, because you preload sort of operation tabs, don't you, with this one? And as your character keeper guide says, you can't just copy the character keeper tab and have all of the drop downs continue. Okay, so Mr. Clock, what would you like to do? An investigation or a prep or spend some intel?
Yeah, I'd like to do an investigation and maybe prep as well. I would like to find out who murdered Bug's producer. I'm thinking his body. I'm going to break into the county morgue or the police morgue, probably because it's reasonably obvious that he has been murdered through ill means. So it'll probably be the police morgue.
Mm-hmm.
And try and find the police report in the morgue.
Okay.
With the coroner's report.
Okay. Which skill are you using for that?
I'm going to break in.
Sounds about right.
So I'm going to use a larceny. And I will use the stress dice. Let's see what we get.
Oh, that is a 6.
6, 6, 4.
6, 6, 4. The stress die is not the highest dice, so your stress does not go up. You gain a point of intel. The minimum that you need to proceed is that Bug's producer, Archie Rackham, was bled dry. He has completely been eviscerated. It has been bloody, violent, but it's like someone took their time to drain him of every last bit of blood. And the extra benefit I will give you.
Could I suggest something?
Yeah, go for it.
This might not fall into the mechanics that so do yours if this doesn't sound right.
No.
I would like to take his face. False face is a specialism of mine. I would like to take his face
off.
Yes, that's one way I can do false face. I can sort of like stretch it over my wooden face.
Yes. Okay. You can take it off. I am going to mark a point of E for that though.
Okay.
Because
can I use the intel instead?
Someone may notice.
Someone may notice. What you mean? Spend the intel to negate the heat?
Yes.
Yes. Go on then. I'll allow you to do that. Yeah. But I will say so. Can
I just say it's very generous of you, Will?
Yes. Yeah, I know. But it's such a creepy, horrible idea. I had to go with it. So that's the minimum you need to proceed. Control answer 2 questions, and you mark intel. But you now have Art Rackham's face. Now I'm going to need you to put that in your gear as a 1. The Art Rackham thing, because I think if anyone searches you and finds a face on you, it's not going to go down well. I think that the extra benefit that I'll give you one additional piece of information from that, which is Art Rackham being bled like this, being bled dry. In the future, you've encountered something called a red cap, a homicidal fae that drenches its cap in blood to gain strength and speed.
They're like gnomes, aren't they?
Yeah, horrible fuckers.
Yeah.
This is very much like that. Yeah. So yeah. Okay, let me just write down face off on my notepad. I'm very glad that at least one person here got that. Thank you, Bucket.
No, I got it.
You got it when I went off. Yeah. So next up is Gilgamesh. Investigation or prep?
Prep, please.
Prep.
I'll just run this by the team now. I'm gonna try and use my technical expertise to be on the kind of the crew setting up the gig.
Okay. Okay, so we'll come back to that. Felicity?
I like the idea of Michael being on the crew to set up the gig. I wonder, do you want me to take out the electricity to the building or anything like that?
Not in advance. No, I mean, that might be something we end up doing.
Do you want me to set it up so that we've got a plan B?
I just don't know how your expertise is going to play into that as a prep.
I'm an assassin. I've probably planted a car bomb or 2.
I think you're pushing that assassin too far. It's about killing people.
Where are you going to plant the car bomb to blow up the power line to a building whose power lines are underground, embedded in deep within? You are an assassin. You kill people, Bucket. You've chosen a character. You've chosen your skills to be to be very I kill people and not I kill people with my technical expertise or anything like that. You know, you
All right. I think I'm going to leave this to the people who know what they're doing, and instead try to reduce heat.
Oh, you can just do that with a spend of intel,
Oh.
which you don't have.
All right, so I can't do that.
No.
Um,
What I would say is you could investigate. You don't need to have invest prep for that, but you don't need to have a relevant skill. You can still just roll. You can call on a contact, buying your stress. You have a free contact with Tony Fums,
right.
who you know, it's the New York seedy club scene. There's bound to be some shady bugger in there.
Would discussing a plan now help people focus what they want to generate? Because I'm sure if we come up with a plan, we can all think of something for
Right.
that would fit in with Felicity's skill set and allow Felicity to do something, you know, if they like the idea, sort of thing.
Honestly, I would like that because I've been struggling. I mean, Felicity feels like, you know, a one-trick pony in some ways.
Certainly how you're
So-
playing her. Yeah. I would
Well,
say
we got
you can
larceny,
ask.
we've got intrusion. I
Yeah.
think the deadly and assassin are off the board for prep work, but we've got two other really good skills there that I think we can work with. So plan wise, I'll put my plan out there. Somebody come up with a better plan. I've got this guy's face. Let's resurrect him from the dead and put on an even bigger show to draw people away from the red shoes. So DJ Bug has very little, if any, audience. That could then allow Quinn to go in and easily polish him off if need be.
There is. I
dubious.
think there's a problem with that because the idea that we can in the next 24 hours organize a bigger gig with a guy who's been reported in the newspapers as dead, I think that's pushing a very big boulder up a very big hill. I thought you were going to use the face to surprise someone and scare them witless when the time came.
Well, I could do that, but I'm thinking of shutting this thing down sort of reasonably legitimately.
I'll give you another little benefit from the morgue visit, by the way, is that Hallie Christine Anderson was listed as one of Art Rackham's next of kin, like, you know, close personal friends. She was very close to Art Rackham.
Okay.
And one of the conceits is we are bound to her, the club, and what's going to happen there. So we can set up a different operation somewhere else, but it's not this one. Would be my reading. I think, you know, Will has invested the prep, so we are stuck with his
ultimately,
prep.
I think that, like, you can totally put on your other club. I think you'll find that mysteriously, for the reasons that Alan's outlined and for the ones that are perhaps hidden to you, you're not going to put a club, and also that is going to end up with the dancing plague spreading anyways.
So to build on what Paul was suggesting, because I like the idea of having fewer people there. And I think that's something that we can do because Tony Thumbs, I'm sure, has a contact or two inside the fire department, can maybe get the capacity lowered, have them investigating and say that you can't have as many people in the club tonight, something like that.
What I think is the goal here? What's your objective?
Well,
I'm
let's
trying
go
to
back
say
to
DJ Bug,
then.
because you don't know anything about how or what this spreads yet. None of you have done any investigation into anything.
Fogel will investigate the plague itself, obviously.
Yeah.
Historical
Okay.
accounts. My suggestion would be, I mean, we want to stop this. Yes, we want to prevent the enchantment to take place in the first place. So we go in. Can we not just take her out? The DJ before the event starts. We get in with intrusion or whatever, and we just prevent her from doing the show.
Kill DJ Bug.
I was thinking more like kidnap, but
We could cut her hands off.
Jesus, you're with the cutting. Stop it.
It's not killing them.
That's true. Sometimes it's better
Should
to
we
be
have
dead.
Professor Vogel do this investigation, return to the
Yeah,
discussion?
maybe.
Yes, because you
Yeah.
are actually trying to get more details, whereas everybody else has taken the incomplete picture of the future
Mhm.
and leapt 2 feet in. Imagine if last time you just started shooting, that you were all ready to start just murdering the Delta Green agents, right? But they're actually on your side.
We were about to.
Yeah.
So, I mean, the expertise that Vogel has is more about the, historical, I don't know, what's it called? Documents
Yeah.
of the dancing place. So what
Of
is known?
choreomania, as it is known.
Mhm.
Nice,
So I
interesting
know that.
article on the BBC about that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I read a lot of stuff because I wrote a Cthulhu dark scenario
Yeah,
just
yeah.
about the dancing plague.
Oh,
I
yeah.
know that in
Well, why don't you roll it, and you can
okay.
have this probably the
Wow.
stuff that I'm about to unveil to you with a few hints added onto it.
Okay, let's how do you roll? I have
Expertise, your grey
Yeah.
dice, and your stress dice if you want it. Your expertise definitely accounts here.
but the expertise is the orange one, right? No?
Yeah,
So gray, orange, and stress.
if you wish for stress.
I wish so very much. Oof, it's a
That's
5.
5. So you get the minimum that you need to proceed, which is that choreomania is a recurring motif throughout the Middle Ages, throughout all the times. The dancing, this may well be the original outbreaks of the dancing plague. One of the most notable incidents was in Strasbourg in 1518. This is exactly what you were about to say, isn't it, Horst?
Yes, the only thing I remember now.
The common themes that you find out through that, and this is a minimum that you need to proceed, is that the dance tends to originate with one person, somebody who led the dance, and then it spreads from there. People join them in there. No, I didn't roll for stress on that 6 because I got caught up with a face-off procedure. And so that's the minimum that you need to proceed, is that that it starts with the leader. That confirms your suspicions about Bug, right?
Yeah.
Now I will offer you the additional piece of information, right? Which is that the stories also say that each of these people had always sought some sort to be famous. The rumors of their character was always seen as somebody who wanted to be the center of attention, they're exactly the kind of person who wanted to be, and somehow their wish was granted.
The old Faustian pact, right?
Yeah. So hinting at a second party is involved here. Like you say, a pact. You need to make a pact with someone, right?
Yeah.
So
there is, obviously I share the information.
Mm-hmm.
If we're still in the planning phase and before Felicity does her move.
And you know what? I have a tendency to be a little bit reticent with information, just because, you've got the flyers of all of the red shoes and everything around you. As you're considering, this link, you will see that Bugs is presented by Weaver Music, the name of Bug's new producer that has taken over from Art Rackham.
It's something that Felicity could maybe investigate.
Mm-hmm. So does that seem all good for you guys? I'm going to quickly return to clock for a stress roll. As
And already added 1 stress.
Added 1 stress, yeah. Now it's probably not the severing of the face or any of those, because clock strikes me as particularly reticent. Maybe the memories of what the Red Caps did to Martha in the future. So objective-wise, we're back onto this group discussion for the last, and Quinn's still got an action to take, and so does Gilgamesh.
Alan, do you want to go first?
Well, no, I've got a prep, so I've got nothing till
Okay.
we know that there's no more investigation.
So
And you can spend intel to have a 1 to 3 answer on the minimum that you need to proceed on a question, basically. So if anyone's got any extra intel they want to spend, I can give you more details.
I don't think I have. Let's see.
So in investigating this new producer seems like a good idea. Because it seems like we've got information on the club, and well, he's a producer in music.
And we assume that the pact was done with a weaver, with a representative of this consortium.
So yeah, I think calling a contact costs stress, but stress
not
would
in
go.
the case of Tony Thumb, because I gave that free one
It's
as
a
an
free
extra
invoke.
benefit from the for Tony Thumb. 1 free invoke.
So my stress would not go up, which
Would
means
not go
my
up.
expertise would not be usable yet.
No, it would not be. Or you can just call in, and you can just bank that and call on somebody else, and your stress would go up.
But calling a contact is a waste of an investigative scene, because you can do that anytime you like.
Well, unless you use it to give you the expertise to do something.
Yeah, which is basically the point. You know what? Let me just go ahead and break into their offices and see what I can find.
Or to fictionally frame your investigation in a way that you couldn't do on your own, I would say. You're going to break into Weaver's offices?
Sure.
Okay.
See what kind of paperwork I can find. I mean,
I would also like to remind everyone that there is a tendency in this game to look at the 3 skills you have there and only do the 3 skills that you have there. Now, playing a character that was super focused on murdering things with the occult means, sometimes I just had to roll a grey dice on my stress die and deal with it. So just like to get everyone a little bit removed from that monofixation, perhaps.
Yeah, and just as I remember that your specialism clears during downtime.
Oh yeah, so
as
you can
does
all
all
clear
your
your
gear.
specialism and your gear. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going to break into the place. You can't use your specialism, but your expertise at the moment. So it's still just rolling the grey die and your stress die if you want it.
I'm absolutely going to roll that stress die.
Well, your stress doesn't go up, but you get a 5. You break into Weaver's offices. Weaver's offices are in a very swanky, downtown Wall Street office. And they are pristine. They are filled. You go through, and the creepy thing is that people are still working there in the middle of the night. And as you watch them, as you break into the building, you quietly move down the corridor, and you get ready maybe to deal with one of them. One of them steps out of the corridor. And you see that they're fast asleep, sleepwalking their way through the offices, doing all of the work for Weaver while they sleep. So that's, I think the minimum that you need to proceed there is that, yes, there is 100% something supernatural about Weaver. And the second thing that you'll find with your 5, the additional benefit will be that what this somnambulist office worker is doing, this seems to be some sort of executive worker who you would typically find around Wall Street. There are all these contracts that he is filing, and he is moving paperwork around, and he is filing it away, and he just seems to be moving it from side to side, place to place. And you can see that among the contracts is one from him saying that he would give anything if he could just do more work, if he could work more. Like, that's all. There's just not enough hours in the day. Why does he need to sleep? He would give anything to get rid of sleep, to work if he could work when he slept. And then you find DJ Bugs. And it says something very simple, which is, I want to be known all over the world for my music to be heard by everybody, to be felt by everybody. I want to be famous. I want to change the world. And it is signed.
Can I steal that?
Scooter Curl.
Wait, it's signed what?
Miss Scooter Curl. Robin
Okay.
Goodfellow's cover name. So Weaver, it turns out, is Robin Goodfellow.
All right. I'd like to steal that contract.
Mm-hmm.
And then just
Well, that's an investigation scene.
yeah. And then just leave. Thought about trying to set fire to something, but I'm not trying to kill civilians.
You're not trying to give me so much heat to play with, right?
I wouldn't. I'm thinking about the promise I made to Vogel. I mean, I'm trying to
Yes.
save people.
Yes. Yeah. Good call. Okay. So let's quickly review what we know, and I'll start off after the break with Alan's prep scene before we go in. Yeah. So we have 20-year-old Christine DJ Bug Anderson is the focus. The red shoes is the place. The opposition is named occultist. I think we can upgrade what you know about the opposition now, right? To be a supernatural Weaver and the red caps, right?
Please tell me the support act is Robin and the Red Caps.
That would be good. I should have thought of that. I did not think of that.
But I mean, isn't the opposition then also Robin Goodfellow or not?
It's the main opposition that you're going to face there, which I would say is probably Robin Goodfellow is, as you have seen, not so much a hands-on kind of Fae, but they are there.
Can we conclude that their real name is Weaver? No, they wouldn't advertise that so publicly, probably.
It's another name.
Because I think that the whole contract is void if they sign with just a fake name, but that's just my personal opinion.
I mean, you can certainly argue that you may find yourself not dealing with the right set of laws there, frankly.
If only it wasn't signed in something red that went a peculiar rusty brown on drying.
Yeah. And they are manipulating a mortal with influence. Now, what is the objective here? What is your goal? Stop the dancing plague is the one, but what do you think? I mean, that could be the objective, just stop the dancing plague.
Yeah, it could either be, sorry to interrupt, it could either be to persuade her to not follow that weird contract, or to stop her forcefully. What do we think? Forcefully, probably.
Well, I don't know. I don't think it has to be forcefully. I mean, I'm now beginning to think that if, for instance, Gilgamesh could mess with the lighting and whatever other special effects are at work to create an environment where the ghost of my father appears before me, so to speak, and Mr. Clock impersonating Archie Rackham convinces her to turn away. Then Vogel's knowledge and Quinn's persuasive abilities might allow us to stop this ever happening. So the gig stops and she doesn't become famous. She doesn't go on a world tour.
Especially because Rackham is also like super close to her. I think.
Exactly.
And she might have, I mean, I don't know if she knows that he was killed by probably agents of the Queen, which would turn her maybe against them.
I mean, we don't know how much she knows. She's probably signed a contract in good faith. She's a vehicle.
I just want to move this along a bit. Sorry. So what I'm hearing from the two of you is an argument for stopping the plague by removing Bug from this equation peacefully.
Yeah, null and voiding the contract.
Yeah. Breaking the contract. Yeah. Okay. So break the deal.
I've written force a contract break.
And yes, Bucket, the art behind me is by Arthur Rackham. a reference that I wasn't sure if anyone got, frankly. So cool, that's it. We will return in at 1:15 and we will deal with Gilgamesh's prep scene. So we know that that the operators are going to force a break between DJ Bug and Weaver at some point this evening within the Red Shoes. The I think it would be relatively safe to presume that whatever the dancing plague spreads, it is tied to this contract between Bugs and Weaver. But we have a prep scene, and that is that Michael Enders wishes to use his technical abilities to get in with the crew for the evening.
Yeah, and I think that in order to up my chances of success, I just need to make sure I haven't left this too late. I want to spend a point of intel to recover my expertise.
That sounds good.
Because it just gives you one less to worry about. Well, so that's so I've taken the intel away. I will regain expertise, and I want to use my technical expertise just to display my capacities. Really.
Yeah, sure.
It's just you need me on your crew tonight.
Mm-hmm.
And I think I will take a chance on including the stress dice in that. That was a tactical error. Stress goes up by 1 to 4, but that does give me success. So I'd like to have myself backstage or wherever the kind of control of light, special effects, whatever it is. Yeah, that's where I want to start play.
And what load would you like to be in for that?
I think that I'm probably going to go with medium.
Mm-hmm.
Because it seems to me that I'm the kind of guy who should have an excuse to have some kit.
Oh God, yeah. I mean, I wanted to offer you an additional benefit of this preparation action to be that you can bring in the gear that you want.
I think medium is fine. It's a big bag. Yeah, no, I know you have everything, but this. I like my own kind of control deck for the lights and stuff.
Hey, buddy, if you manage to get those fuses fixed in this piece of shit place, then hey, you're all right by me. I won't say a word to the union.
But I will default to tech toolkit to start because I don't. It seems to me that I cannot in any way be convincing unless I've got my tech toolkit to be seen tinkering with those fuses.
Cool. So Gilgamesh is setting up while the rest of you are making your preparations for the safe house. And out the window, you hear Ryan Froud yelling out, okay, have fun tonight. Don't break a leg. It's good that you got a gig lined up so soon after the gala, Martha. I mean, the Red Shoes, huh? What a dive. And I'm going to spend another point of heat to put Martha Wurzenberger, dancing prodigy, has now been hired as a dancer for the evening. And so she will be on scene during this. I think I might just change it to peril instead of missing, because I like the idea of throwing these people under the bus in this operations themselves. And then you also hear him go down the corridor. And Ryan goes, oh shit, someone's at the door. I'll see you later. And if one of you was to peer out the front, you see Ryan talking in the corridor with a man who's got a New York detective's badge displayed out. Looks like quite a greasy looking man. You can see the faint line of a tattoo underneath his neck. And there are about, let's say, 2 more men going up and down the corridors, standing by the lifts and the stairs with him, observing. And you can hear the conversation. Hey, so my friend, my name is Detective Roblowski, and I just was wondering, have you seen this woman? Oh, the The tattooed chick? Yeah, she was yelling with some old man out in the street earlier today. They're down that way. Okay. Thanks. Go inside as I am gonna hit the safe house. Spend another point of heat. And you see through that little doorway thing, as you crack the door shut, they're coming this way. Quinn, it's your safe house. The three of you are at the safe house. Now I'm just going to draw your attention over to the heat and intel. If you are at the safe house, you must either immediately flee for your life or confront the strike team attacking the safe house. You flee, you choose any load you want as you grab up the gear you think you might need before rolling to flee for your life. If you stay and successfully take out or drive off the entire strike team, you can select any load you want, head for an emergency rendezvous without needing to flee for your life. And you can also spend, well, you know what? It means that you wouldn't have a safe house, but I would allow you to spend intel if you choose to confront them, basically, to provide another safe house. But what's the play here, Quinn? Cops are coming.
Sorry, I was muted. How do folks feel about fighting a strike team?
Vogel, I mean, in mechanical terms, we wouldn't have. Do we have a safe house after we take out the strike team? No. The only benefit is that we can choose our load, I think.
No, I mean, from the differences is essentially that you don't need to flee for your life. That's one of the major benefits. You can kill them. And I've decided to house rule that if you do drive them off and kill them, you can spend your intel immediately to declare the next new safe house.
Oh, okay, cool.
So that you have an open safe house to you.
And free for your life is really bad if it's
free for your life is just you will just take the gear that you have and escape essentially. But it will be much quieter in terms of drawing heat than this will be, because what you are essentially now. I am sort of cribbing off that Daredevil episode. Where a corrupt cop goes and they end up having to deal with him. The Kosher Mafia has sent around a few heavies and a pet corrupt cop to start canvassing the buildings for the terrorists that the city's looking for.
I mean, Mr. Clock is for fighting them, so it's already 2-1.
No,
I mean,
this isn't a you know, you can run.
You can get down the fire. There are lots of ways out of this building as well.
I know. I established the fact.
Mm-hmm.
I love the idea that Professor Vogel in panic just grabs a couple of books, which is light load out, and flees the scene.
You're only going to grab light loadout. You're not going to grab medium.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Then you know what? Let's start off with the other two. As I will cut to you for your flee as we just hear the fire escape go, you know. But let's see what happens then as they knock on the door. Felicity. NYPD, we got some questions.
You know what? I'm not even going to bother opening the door. I'm just going to shoot straight through it.
Cool. Roll to confront. And I think all of your expertise and your deadly applies here. And
I can't use my expertise. Stress hasn't gone up.
Well, yeah, fair enough. You can roll.
You can always use the deadly, though.
Yes, you can always use the deadly. I think there's just one risk die here, not the two that you would get from being outnumbered by them, just because you've taken them by surprise.
All right. 6 on the stress dice.
Nice, and the risk die is not the highest dice, so it doesn't go off, but you get 6 on the stress dice, so you get intel. Your stress does go up.
Yep.
We don't need to roll for that, but you get to take out one of them with what weapon did you declare there for that?
You know what? Let's go with an MP5.
Nice, SMG. So that's auto. So you can take out 2 of them with that. What's the extra benefit that you would like from this?
t- does the other heavy just start running? You know what? No, I don't want, because I want to leave something for Paul to
Yeah.
have fun with.
I tell you what, it can be that the other heavy is flat-footed as the, is basically trying to push the dead cop off him, leaving him wide open for Clock to come out and engage with him in any way that he wants.
That works for me.
Yeah. Clock.
I would have liked to set up with tradecraft a sort of a trap. So I'm envisaging like a railway sleeper with a spike through it. That
I don't think
swings
that's
down.
quite tradecraft, to be perfectly honest with you, Paul.
What, a trap? Spies are always setting up traps, aren't they?
Yeah, but not so much of the Rambo kind.
We had a chance to define the nature of the safe house, why it was ideal.
Yeah, if you'd set traps up as the ideal reason why, I suppose. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I'll just shoot him then.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, you could just do it with your you have technical?
No.
No.
Well, I've got small arms, so it made no difference.
Yeah.
6 and a 2.
Nice. So your intel goes up.
Roll for stress.
Roll for stress, yeah.
Two, which is lower, so stress does not go up.
Stress does not go up as you step out calmly into the corridor and you execute this Kosher Mafia guy. And luckily, Martha doesn't see it happen as she goes back to see what the gunfire was. So you've taken out the thing. Vogel, you turn around as the smoke clears, come on, there'll be more of them. And Vogel's gone. So Vogel, you hammer it down the fire escape as the gunfight explodes behind you. Out in the alleyway, there is a guy sat in a car going on a phone, right? What do you do? Flee for your life?
Yes.
Yeah.
Take out a suspect, or I don't know, like a what's it called?
I'm not seeing your expertise come into this.
Me neither. So it's a D6.
So you can include your stress die if you like.
I can clear my stress die if I like.
Include your stress die.
Include. I will just do that. Okay, 2 dice. Here we go. It's a 6 on the stress.
Everyone rolling 6s. Nice. Mark
but
intel.
my stress goes up.
Your stress goes up. Mark intel.
Ooh. It's my first intel. Stress.
The guy in the car is yelling on the phone and he sees you and he goes, "Hey, you'll stop!" And he slams the car forward and manages to crash into the dumpster rather than clip you like he was supposed to. And you just hear the as he's like slumped against the windshield, and you depart with the sirens start to come closer. So I'm going to mark heat for that though, because corrupt cop or not, you did just kill a cop, and it was a exchange gunfight in a residential area, without silencers.
One question: where do I mark intel on the character sheet?
It is down below your. Why did you
row
choose
27?
Yeah, row 27.
Here we go. Cool. Nice. Thanks.
So, guys, do you want to choose your load for the operation and walk calmly out as Ryan Froud locks the doors behind him and rings up Martha and says, "Don't come back, babe. Don't come back." So you've chosen your load.
I don't think I'm coming back to this place, so I'm choosing heavy, and I'm just grabbing as much as I can.
Okay. Now, the question is, of course, getting that in. But this is not going to be quite as high security as the Met Gala, I will give you that. You have plenty of breaking in skills. So.
But I also don't have Paul Giamatti.
That's true. I mean, luckily we all still have Paul Giamatti thanks to the actions of the operators. But yeah, so I've cleared the safe house. It is no longer someone would have to spend an intel to declare one. Does anyone want to? Do you want to have gone to a safe house afterwards and then have an intel to spare to do that?
I mean, I have intel for the first time in my life. I want to use it on something cool.
We can generate a safe house after the op, can't we?
Yeah, but if you spend the intel now, then we can just leave it blank, and you'll have it as an option during the game.
But it's no use to us in the game, is it? Until the next.
That's what it says, but then I was looking over at that and I was like, well, there's not really any material difference between fleeing and confronting beyond you choosing a different dice roll.
Yeah, true. Different outcomes.
Yeah. Whereas I liked the idea of it being confront puts you more at risk, so it sort of opens up the possibility of declaring you go to the next safe house rather than fleeing at will kind of stuff. I don't know. I need to think about that more, maybe. Let's leave it for now and let's do the rules as written rather than me continuously make shit up on the fly. Okay, so cool. Right. So it's the night of the gig. You know that Enders is inside already. Mr. Clock, what's your approach to getting in? And how are you strategizing with you guys can strategize a bit as you rendezvous with Professor Vogel at the neutral place, like the place you said to meet up, basically, if it all went wrong. That laundromat up on 5th.
Is the gig sold out? Can I just buy a ticket?
Professor Vogel. Yes, of course you can just buy a ticket, Professor Vogel.
That will be my approach.
Cool. I won't even, if you're just going to go in and buy a ticket, then we can just have the tickets seller. It is just a sort of like a little booth out on the edge of the car park of this place across. There is a line of people queuing up to go in, a bouncer, very selective, and the woman behind the booth looks you up and down and goes, really?
I like the music.
Okay. Okay. Shit. You got to tell Sven to let this guy in. It's too funny. You're not a cop, are you? You got to tell us if you're a cop.
Do I look like a policeman?
No. I'll be honest with you. No. You look like you'd be a retired policeman, if anything.
Well, I'm old. That is true. But I'm also wise. You, on the other side, will be old at some stage, and you will be as stupid as you are now.
And you see her just laugh and go like, yeah, sure thing, Grandpa. Man, it's going to be so funny. Slides it over the tickets to you, takes your money, lets you in. I don't indulge my my normal GM tendency to punish players who decide to just be fuck over and be rude to NPCs, because everyone's always like, why can't I treat them like shit and they treat me like shit? Yeah.
Well, she did treat me a bit rude.
Yeah, it's almost like she's someone who has power over you in some small way. But yeah,
very small way.
Yeah, but she's just mostly amused by the grumpy old man, I think. You are going to stand in the queue. As
definitely the oldest person in the whole queue, I would assume.
Yeah.
Also,
you see a couple of your students in front of you turn around and go, "Oh shit!" Move out of the way. Are you dressed in any way, shape, or form differently than you would do normally? You are just in your tweed jacket.
Tweed jacket, the patches, the horn glasses.
Cool. I mean, just, if the conspiracy is looking for somebody who stands out of place inside this club, I know who it's going to be, right? Mr. Clock?
Well, I'll listen to what Felicity's going to do, because Felicity's quite good in getting into places. So if not, I could buy a ticket, I suppose.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
Now, Professor Vogel, of course, didn't have to do anything because he's light loaded.
I'm light
Right.
loaded.
You're light loaded as well. Yeah, light loaded people can pass the check, no problem. Anybody higher than that, of course, is going to need a full pat down.
So, quick talk about plan as we're sat in the laundrette in our underpants. That's what people do in the US automats or laundromats. So, we're going to convince Bug that the contract's crap. I've got this guy's face, but I'm not very good at persuasion, and I don't know anything about corporate law, which clearly I think a contract would fall under. Now, is there somebody that is really good at persuading people and knows a lot about corporate law around? I don't know. Oh, yes, Professor Vogel.
Thank you. Thank you for noticing.
So, do you think you're the best person to do the contract annulment?
I mean, would it be too much of a stretch if I am somewhere talking into the microphone, saying the things that, like, can I transfer persuasion? I can transfer legal
Do
advice.
the Muppet gag.
Yeah. Muppet gag?
We could call on a contact to have. Well, I mean, no, we've got comms.
Got
Yeah.
Well,
The conceit is that we've got comms.
Tech skills would probably allow that, wouldn't it? You could set up some sort of like. So what we talking? My face with the brains and the
your face, your voice. I don't think I'd allow the persuasion, because I think persuasion is much about your thing, but the corporate role, like, you can tell Clock what to say, and
but not how to say
the thing, but not how to say it. No.
Yeah.
Persuasion is very much about, your presence, kind of thing.
But I mean, the face will be like a narrative.
Mechanically, you can't stack expertise, so
exactly. It'd just be two different roles. You know what I mean? Like, one of them would be useful in providing you with the sort of objective details that you need, and the other one is in terms of like convincing Bug that it's a good idea.
And corporate, in my case, is obviously like fairy law. It's not so much legal advice, because my corporate is academia, and my field of
I take corporate as a swathe of bureaucratic kind of things, and in your particular case, very dry academia, bureaucracy.
Okay, so we need to get Professor Vogel near Bug, probably with me. Now, high chance that there's going to be some red caps about. They may not like this alteration of the thing. So is that something you could possibly deal with, Felicity?
I didn't come heavy loaded to not deal with things.
Well, I'm not. I thought that would be your answer, but it's always nice to ask first.
Of course.
So
I appreciate the patience and the kindness of asking an assassin to shoot people.
Well, yeah.
Faye.
Only Faye. So Gilgamesh, what? Where do you see yourself on this, and add to the plan?
Well,
with thought.
I have to say, I kind of imagined the scene from Hamlet where Hamlet's father appears as a ghost, lit appropriately downstage, approaches Bug, uses what's coming in his ear from Vogel to pull, as I think Puckett said, a Serrano de Bergerac in terms of breaking the contract and convincing her this is bad medicine, to be interrupted by a pair of redcaps. That's Quinn's department. I'll provide the lighting, you provide the ghost, Vogel does the words, and Felicity stops anyone interfering.
So the plan is that, like, as the lights go down, the single spotlight shines on Art Rackham's face, and Bug's about to drop the music and goes, "Is that my father I see before me?"
Indeed.
Yeah, I like it very much. Let's see if it
Bug,
survives
I
contact with the
am
enemy.
your father.
Okay, but this will be on stage then? I thought in the back,
Oh yeah. Oh no.
in front of thousands of people.
Yeah.
Okay.
And they're going to think it's part of the show. But as long as we can scare the living shit out of Bug to
I
get
like the
her
idea.
attention.
So we don't have to get into the back area at all.
I'll flood the stage with some dry ice.
Yeah, for Mr. Clock to enter the stage. I like it.
Cool.
In fact, I mean, if the stage has a trap door with some stairs up, we'll pull the Don Giovanni bit where he kind of emerges.
Well, let's not get ahead of ourselves too much.
Indeed not. Indeed not. But
Let's
you
not,
wanted to
'cause
know.
there are some complications in store for you all, of course.
I just thought I'd take this opportunity to lay out what I think might work.
Yeah. So
So
Because I
basically,
know Paul
like
loves
those-
a plan.
yes.
I can walk in and Felicity heavy loaded, but has got intrusion. So do we want to go there first?
Yeah, you and Vogel can just attend as guests, make your way through in the queue. Mr. Clock, how are you
Mr. Clock
dressed?
and Mr. Pink.
Yes. How are you dressed?
I think I'm dressed in. Let's go for like a red satin sort of evening jacket. Yeah, I think that's what he would have worn.
If only we'd done the investigation to find out the kind of clothes Arch Rackham used to wear.
Well, yeah, unless they were in a bag next to his slab.
Yeah, they were red by the time they they were through with them. Yeah. So, okay, you guys can just walk in, which just leaves Felicity.
What kind of a building am I looking at here? How many stories, windows, that sort of thing?
It's an infamous techno punk squat rave club. So it's kind of like an old warehouse, I think, that's been converted into a nightclub. It's been notorious. It's been used in some form or another as some sort of like party place since the 70s, the 80s. It gets shut down. There's a fire. There's a drug bust. It reopens under a different name. It's infamous.
What kind of security's on the fire escapes, that sort of thing?
I mean,
or does this place even have fire escapes? Is it,
It has some fire escapes. It's reasonably within code,
Okay.
The inspections always seem to be paid off by somebody before they can actually take place, but they're not so egregious that they couldn't at least pretend to be within code, So there are fire
Gotcha.
escapes, there are other routes in, there are other doors. What you have is security, Imagine Berghain. Imagine any sort of seedy kind of clubby place. It has that kind of security.
I knew you were doing that to us. Okay.
I mean, Shane did that to you.
That is true. So I'm going to look for the least patrolled and guarded entrance, whether that means I have to, jump up high onto like a ladder to go up on the fire escape. I'm trying to get in without even having to hurt anyone.
I mean, certainly that would be the result of a good roll on the intrusion.
All right. So great ice, expertise, and stress. 5 on the stress die.
Stress goes up. Does that mean you finally reclaim the use of your expertise? Or that already happened? I can't remember.
I haven't used my expertise or my specialism.
No,
but
it's your expertise. I mean, your
Oh, my expertise is available.
yes. So
so what I'm going to do is I'm going to mark my intel like right off the bat so that it does not go up to 5.
cool. You're going to remove your intel immediately. Nice.
Yeah.
And that is a do something else. And I believe on a 5 and a do something else, you don't get any extra benefit. You just do it perfectly without any complication. Is that right?
Good. Didn't even have to knock anybody out.
Cool. So you slip in and you are, I think you're in like the bar area of one of the upper floors, one of the other rooms. You'll have to work your way through the club. You are heavy loaded. You are still liable for checks on maintaining your cover and stuff, because if anyone spots you on the way in,
I just want to find an elevated position so that I can kind of keep an eye on what's going on and where things are.
Oh, well, roll to investigate then. You slip in.
All right. Does my expertise apply here?
No. No intrusion. I'll let you have your thing. Yeah.
All right.
I think there's a certain level of finding a place you want to be within the skill set of intrusion.
Well, and I think the other thing, I think the stress die is totally appropriate here because I'm trying to do this with a heavy load and a lot of people around. That's 6 on expertise.
Wow. Mark intel.
Finally, my stress does not go up.
Your stress does not go up. So you get the minimum you need to proceed, which is you do find the sort of what are we imagining here? Like a walkway or a
catwalk, something like above the lights, so I'm in the dark, but I've got a good view of everything that's going on.
Yeah, gantry as you're across.
Yeah.
And there's the music's up there. And Vogel and Mr. Clock have entered the crowd as DJ Bug's set is about to begin. Gilgamesh is sat in the control booth, where the lights are and everything. It is crowded. It's busy in here. On the way in, it was it was a maze of corridors and like different rooms. This isn't the only room. There are other rooms. There are chill rooms. There are other things going on. It's heaving in here. It is big. And Mr. Clock can see a very familiar figure dancing in a cage to the side of the stage, dressed as a fairy, her wings pinned, flickering with neon lights. And yeah, you find your way up onto that gantry where all the lights are across, I think, it's rigging, so it's not like a full walkway that you could really use like as a full platform, but it's something that you can easily nimbly pull yourself across on the heavy bag and everything, and set yourself up there. And I think as the lights are going down and you're waiting for Bug to come up on stage, the thing that made you roll for stress was that you notice the two figures, that there is a circle, a clearing of space around them. No one seems to want to go near them, but they just seem to be oblivious to their presence. They are figures with rank, long hair and these filthy, blood-red caps pulled tightly down across their heads. And as they walk, you hear a chink, 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 like iron boots ringing out through that sort of silence as everyone starts to cheer and clap for Bug to come on. But no one seems to notice at all. It is a bit like, in the Terminator when you see Arnie walking through the crowd in Tech Noir. These are the sort of where they are, and they've just stood in the middle of the room watching.
I'm curious, with my SMG, are they in range?
We're going to cut away from you for this second. Okay, Puckett. Gilgamesh, the moment's coming. Bugs.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did spot the junk food for the crew. So I'm just going to stuff my face before we kick off.
The junk food for the crew. I mean, not the. What was your favorite booze back in the day? All the drugs that they offer you.
No. I've I didn't have a problem then, and you can't get it in the future.
Yeah.
Just makes you go blind. And I think what's beginning to become clear about Gilgamesh is that something in the future has warped him, because he's getting very little nourishment from this. I think it's a compulsion that he's brought back. So I think, the dew claws are the bit of the enchantment you can see. The bottomless stomach may be the bit you can't see.
Okay, I like that. Yeah. Make a note of that somewhere on your character keeper, on your character sheet, I think.
I've removed stress.
Okay.
I'll roll the stress dice because I don't want to hold up the flow. That is
Oh,
a
6.
that is a 6. Mark Heat.
I don't think it was, but it was really worth it.
It was. I'll take the benefit of the really worth it.
Yeah. It means that you're distracted at the key as the lights come on. You are not, you're doing it, and the guy says, "Hey, don't worry about it. I got this." And he hits a few dots, and you're all stood there as the lights come up and the music starts to play, right? Like the first beat comes through, and then it's like the whole room, the light show all around you. It's incredible. It's like a glade, like a forest of lights, like a night, like a ballroom. Like the smoke goes through, it fills the room, and it's
I
misty.
wonder if anybody wanted to yell into their comms, "Fuck Gilgamesh, what are you doing?"
Yes.
I need to reduce stress. So I will absolutely say, Gilgamesh, where the fuck are you?
And I think that the appropriate complication for that is where's the one that's like it's like a labyrinth.
Oh gosh, yeah, I know the one you mean.
I think it is just divided.
Yeah, I think it's just divided actually.
Oh no, choices. It's the top one.
That's the one. Choices.
Choices. As I think that you all realize that as the music comes up, this club, the Red Shoes, these aren't just lights. Dancers among the things step out, that weren't there before. People in fine gentry and clothes as they dance and sway to the music, and you have entered a liminal space. A portion of fairy has entered this world, and this club is now a dance of the gentle ones, of the fair folk. And Bugs raises her hand, and the crowd cheers. And let's cut. And let's maybe take our last 5-minute break, and then just roll for the last hour. Yeah, does that sound good to everyone?
Yeah.
Cool.
Should I roll to reduce stress first?
Well, I think we'll pick that up where it goes. Yeah. So, as the Fey world seeps into ours, Quinn, you are distracted by yelling down your comms exactly what the fuck Gilgamesh is doing as this with this weird light show that's come up, right?
Mhm.
So roll to behave badly and target an operator.
That's a 4.
It's a 4. Okay, so on a 4+, we they're an operator. They take it really badly. I agree with them why they are so hurt and what's happening. They roll for stress. You take 1 off automatically, Puckett. Now, why does it hit you really badly, Gilgamesh? Because you were feeding your stuff in your guts while.
Yeah, and I think there's a growing realization that this is not entirely in my control.
Yes.
And that it could be the proximity of the Fae drives it. I'm just using that fictionally. I don't expect you to mechanicalize it particularly, but yeah, and I've let down the planet. I'm now wondering, am I not on it because my brother's not here?
Oh yeah, you jeopardize the mission. Yeah.
I'll roll for stress, shall I?
Yeah, roll for stress.
And that stress goes up.
Stress goes up.
Only to 3.
Only to 3. And as you're pushing your way through the booth to get to the decks, to the lighting rig, the big greasy kind of, roadie who's, been turns around and wipes it and then pulls their face up and goes, and with a smile, Robin Goodfellow looks back at you and says, "Ah, I thought I'd be seeing you here." enjoy the show.
Does she try to, or do they try to obstruct me?
No, they smile. And as you look down at the decks, you see that it is not connected to a fucking thing.
Oh, which complication was that?
That was nothing. That was just the fact that you are now in the liminal space of the fairy.
So none of the stuff I've set up is going to work.
You know what? That's a bit too extreme because you did use a prep for it, didn't it? Yeah, you know what it can do. Let's just say that you won't be able to stop the music, for example, right? With this, like the show's going to go on, kind of thing.
No. The principle was to create an environment where the ghost of Archie Rackham can influence Bug. So I will.
I think at that point then she is going to obstruct you, and she's going to say no. The show must go on.
Then I have to
confront.
Yeah.
Well, let's cut over to Mr. Clock and Mr. Vogel in the crowd as it's all going down. The people here are entranced. None of them seem to have noticed how weird this is, that there are people, there are tall lords dressed in like some sort of bastardized mix between like 80s punk and, Victorian nobility. And they sway to the music in sort of old courtly dances. And on stage, Bug, in a trance, starts to wave across. What do you do?
So Vogel says to Mr. Clock, we need to get to the stage. And then he shouts to Quinn, take out this fucking... No, he doesn't say fucking. Take out this terrible creatures.
The terrible creature that is about to grab your arm and spin you around because you are a very standing out in this crowd, frankly. I don't even think I could do a maintain your cover because I think that
there's no cover.
There is no cover.
My cover is I'm sticking out. Yes.
Yeah. Perhaps as you're pushing through the crowd, right, to get into a better position, and you're on the comms, the Clock is leading the way, like rummaging in his bag for the face of Art Rackham to pull it on. And did you already come with it, do you think, Mr. Clock? Wearing the face of Art Rackham?
Well, I'll have it with me.
Yeah. And the red cap grabs hold of you, is grabbing hold of you, Vogel. Why don't we cut to Quinn, lining up that shot on the gantry?
Take out the monster.
All right.
Now is the time to use that heavy load to finally declare something that requires a heavy load. Get the fucking sniper rifle out.
Yeah.
Yeah. A quick question with the MP5 that I declared at the apartment. Did I have to keep that on my inventory? Or
no, you could have just dished that.
Okay.
You fired it off and then you threw it to the corner of the room and you picked up something else,
Gotcha. All right. Yeah, what the hell? Let's go with the... Why not the sniper rifle? Going full Ruby Rose and XXX, the return of Xander Cage here. So deadly, expertise, gray die, stress. How many risk die?
I'm going to say 2 risk die, but they apply to Professor Vogel.
Meaning I might shoot him?
Meaning you might not disable the red cap in time. You might you might catch Vogel in the shot. Does that seem fair? I know Horst is up for this kind of thing. I would normally have to ask for permission, but Horst is always up for killing his character. So yeah.
All right, here we go. That's 2 6s.
Nice. Did you roll the stress die? You did, 4-2.
It tied.
It tied. Oh, did you? You didn't roll any 6s on the risk die. Sorry, the risk die I meant to say.
Sorry.
So, it tied, but that does mean that your stress does go up.
I'll just skip the intel.
Cool. And you get a stunning success on this one.
Headshot.
Headshot. I like it. So that is a sniper rifle a heavy weapon?
It is indeed.
So that's 2 stress inflicted by the sniper rifle. And let's say that's an extra stress is the benefit that you're claiming from that, right?
Sure, works
to
for
the
me.
headshot. Now, one thing that does do though is you cap him through the head. It goes through that red cap, exploding his head in a shower of blood, and he collapses down to the ground, and the blood
The cap.
seeps into the hat. He lurches back upright again with the hole in his head knitting close. He's still up, but he is fucked up. Vogel, what do you do?
As soon as the creature lets go of me, I follow in Mr. Clock's steps, hoping that he, like his physical presence, moves more easily through the crowd.
Cool. Clock?
I'd like to gain access to the stage or the DJ booth.
Try and push your way through the crowd and jump up onto the stage, right? Like onto the thing. Okay. I think your hand-to-hand would apply there. So roll to do something else. Five. Nice. You managed to push your way through. The other red cap just leaps like a clean superhuman leap and lands directly onto the stage in front of you. Now, Felicity, as you shift your scope up, you see that other red cap, the one with the bleeding head, just grabs one of the dancing people next to them, and pulls out that knife. And we cut over to Gilgamesh.
I will have called on a contact. I will spend stress to have contacted Michelle, my techie friend. And just be clear, I would have to declare another compulsion before I could declare another deterrent, before I could declare another vulnerability.
No.
Then instead, I will spend an intel to declare a vulnerability on Robin Goodfellow, which is extreme deterrence.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I would like to flash back to me weaponizing a salt cellar.
Nice. I like it. Okay.
So now I have to remind myself of the rules for weaponizing a. I've got medium load, so I think I could legitimately fit in there a shotgun.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go. That leaves me
Sawn
with
off for
one.
sure.
Sean, yeah, fine. So as I remember, in order to weaponize a vulnerability, he said swiftly, there is a reason sometimes I have a print book, isn't there? Is I can flash back to use my technical expertise to do something else.
Yeah.
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 So I will use my expertise. What's the stress position? Oh my, I will include the stress dice because life is short. No, I won't include the stress dice because I could, I won't, yeah, I will, shit. There we go. That is a 4 and it's not on the stress dice.
Nice.
So, where did I write this down? Rolling 1 to 3. Rolling 4 or 5 produces a weapon that works for the entire scene.
Nice.
So I believe
you have your shotgun, your sawn-off shotgun with rock salt shells, like buckshot, right? That's the thing I understand. And you have more loads of this as well, like enough to sort of like fire a few rounds off of this rather just
exactly. So as long as I'm in this scene with Robin Goodfellow, this will do the job.
And she looks cocky as hell when you pull out that shotgun.
Of course she does.
And she says, "Oh, I thought you knew."
Oh well, then you've lost me now.
Oh no, she doesn't know that it's got full of salt.
Oh, I see. I beg your
Yeah,
pardon.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. I was
okay,
hoping
sorry,
that you'd
sorry,
respond with,
Sorry.
I
sorry.
do.
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Sorry,
No,
sorry.
right. Okay.
Too clever in my own repartee. Sorry.
Yeah. No,
Sorry, sorry.
you rather assumed that I was you then.
Yeah, sorry, sorry, yeah.
So I will confront her with a shotgun. Take her out. So with this, without this,
You get 3 risk die for this.
yeah, not unreasonably. And stress didn't go up last time, so it's worth a shout for this one. Okay, so I'll roll 3, she rolls 3. Here we go. Oh, we both rolled a 5.
Ooh, as her that shot, she smiles and she doesn't think it's going to do anything, and that shot goes off, and she screams as the rock salt peppers her, and then she lashes out with a claw, slashing across your arm. Let's roll to see the consequences.
Indeed. So this will be -1 because she's a supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
I'll roll the stress die, I think. Oh, can't highlight the right one. Here we go. That is a 5. -1 is 4. I was lucky this time. It hurts, but I'll live.
Roll back against the side of the booth, right? Like over the edge, pulling the shotgun out as she staggers back, screaming. Her glamour's like twisting and forming, and you can just see this sort of like the haggard face of this fae beneath.
Feel free to cut somewhere else.
Oh, I am indeed. I'm
until
cutting
I
over.
Shoot her again.
Cutting over to Mr. Clock. You've leapt up onto the stage. Bug is going to need to be sort of like physically interrupted, I think, to snap out of this in long enough to recognize you. There's a red cap directly in front of you.
I'm going to spend a point of intel. What can incapacitate a red cap? So the supernatural, there's, what's their power? What's the compulsion?
A compulsion. Well, declare their regenerate and their great strength, I think, is what they displayed by leaping across the thing. And their compulsion is that they are attracted to mortal blood, and both their regenerate and their great strength is powered by mortal blood, essentially. Must soak their caps in blood, which is what you can see the other one attempting to do. In fact, its own blood has been what's fueling its regeneration so far. The problem with a headshot. So you've declared the compulsion.
Yep.
Do you have more intel? Do you want to call on a contact to declare both a compulsion and a deterrent at the same time? Something which I'm told by the book that you can do if you call on a contact of librarian. Or should I ask Felicity?
I'm thinking of just stabbing somebody, which should draw some blood.
Oh, yes, that definitely would.
Yeah, and therefore pull them off me and Vogel.
Nice. Okay. Who is it that you grab?
A person.
A person. Okay. You grab a raver, a young man, who is just like, whoa, what the? And he seems to snap out of this, and he seems as you grab him up there, and he's like, what's going on? And then the knife comes out. I'm going to ask Felicity, what do you do now as a red cap menaces the people in the crowd? It's standing there in front of Clock, and Clock has just grabbed a civilian. Where does your shot go, Felicity?
I gotta, you know what? I gotta shoot the red cap. But having just seen what I saw with the hat, if I shoot the hat, is that going to take care of the problem? Would that knock the red cap down?
Do you have any intel to spend?
I don't. But I do have that free
to call on a
invoke.
contact?
I do have that free invoke with Tony Thumbs.
I'm not sure Tony Thumbs can give you the. I'm afraid Tony Thumbs is not that kind of information broker. He is, however, or fixer. but you could call in a librarian.
Yeah.
Or flashback to a Delta Green agent.
Oh yeah. Agent Rowan digs up stories of how, F-Cell fought a horrible gnarled man with a red cap that is now held in a green box somewhere.
All righty. So I will go ahead and spend the stress to call on Agent Rowan.
Mm-hmm. And that will allow us to. Oh, you'd only be declared a deterrent, though, wouldn't it? With one thing.
Oh, sorry, I thought that's where we were at. I beg your pardon.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, what that would give you a deterrent because you don't have any intel to spend, and then Professor Vogel shouts through the comms.
I do have intel.
His intel.
Yeah. Well, the deterrent could be removing the hat, right? So the deterrent is removing the hat, basically, because like if you remove the hat, they're still active, but it weakens them. As long as they can still use some of their power. So removing the hat.
So I spent my intel to.
Yeah, and then you spend the intel to say like destroy it, and you'll destroy them, basically.
And I've obviously read that somewhere in a book, right?
Oh, yeah.
Right. So
Okay.
this time I'm shooting at the red cap's cap.
Mm-hmm. You aim shifts back down to the thing, and then you hear it, and you just slightly up, just slightly,
All right. Do I roll deadly, considering I'm not trying to kill it?
You roll. No, you don't roll. Yeah, you do roll deadly. You're good at shooting things. Yeah.
What about risk?
I think let's roll 3 risk die here, and again, these are going to apply to the civilians. I think it's how bad red cap's going to cut its way through people here.
Okay. 6 on the stress die.
6 on the stress die. Stress goes up, but you succeed brilliantly.
I will pass on the intel, and I'll just keep stress at 4.
Nice. Yeah, you take off the red caps. You shoot the red cap again in the head, removing enough of its head that the cap just slides off. And as it sort of slumps to the ground and its hands starts patting around for it, you just bang, 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 and the cap just, erupts into fire basically there on the floor, and it withers into dust. Vogel, what do you do?
I'm trying to grab DJ Buck to get her attention, to shake her out of it.
Okay, Clock. What is it you're doing here? You are injuring one of the civilians, right? Roll to do something else. Small arms counts. Small.
Is there any need for that for him to do that, considering that I just took out the red cap?
There's 2.
Okay.
5.
5. Where do you cut this young man?
Just shank him in the thigh.
Oh, shit. Yeah, he screams, he goes down, and the red cap looks, and then it laughs, and it starts to just look, and it pulls out its own knife, and it pokes it in there, and it pulls off its hat, and you have a moment.
Go, go, go.
Mm-hmm.
Let's leap on stage and do the Cyrano de Bergerac thing.
Bugs, you grab Bugs. Bug is just like right about, dancing away to their own music, and then they turn and they see, and then they look, they hear the screams of that man, and they look up and they go, "What the fuck?" And that's when we cut back over to Gilgamesh.
Bang.
Shooting again. Confront again.
Yeah, I got nowhere to go now.
Oh yeah. Sometimes you have to fight them,
I have to milk this scene. I will include the stress dice and another 3 risk dice, I assume.
Yeah.
And roll the dice. Ouch. That is a 5 for me, but it's not on the stress die, but a 6 from her. So
Ooh.
I am at risk again. But I mean, how am I doing here? Do I get any sense of how am I within 1 or 2 of, putting it down?
So a vulnerability allows you to kill them, right? But it doesn't give you extra damage when you hurt them. Is
No,
that right?
no.
No?
It just
And a
allows.
shotgun is not heavy, is it?
No.
No. So you would have done 2 stress by the rules, I believe, at this point. Is that correct?
Okay. So I've got a handful or more left. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Let's do that thing. I will roll the stress die because it's generally been nice to me. Roll high. That's a 1.
Nice.
Uh-oh.
Not good.
Okay. It's mortal for the extraction. It's bloody. You'll die after 1 more action without medical treatment. It's painful. You cannot use your expertise until you get medical treatment. There we go. Cannot be used. Yeah, I think that those elegant fingers are actually terribly clawed.
Oh, yeah. As you raise the gun.
Oh,
For-
oh. I've got 1 left. I declare a vest. Not ceramic. Where's the other one?
The stab vest.
Stab vest.
Yeah.
Where is it? Where is it?
Well, we can assume that you've marked it.
I've marked that,
Yeah.
and instead of me, that rips. She tears that apart,
Yeah.
leaving me unharmed without any with my expertise still intact. I'll find that in a moment.
So, clock.
Ballistic stab vest, yeah, and I'll put lines through it to show that she has used that up.
Nice. Clock. I think it's time to see how well this disguise is pulled off.
Indeed.
I think this is you probably were going to include it anyways, but your stress die must be involved because I think putting your face across your inhuman body is definitely use of some sort of enchantment. Like it's not right.
You
The
don't do
things
that every
those
week.
crafting hands can do.
Yes, yeah, this is definitely a result of your crafting hands. Like, oh, the way that it sort of massages it onto your face, maybe, like pulsates slightly.
Finger staplers.
Yeah. Oh, I think we should all roll for
Okay.
stress.
3 dice roll. 3 dice rolling.
Yeah. Ah, it's a 6.
We've got a 6.
Nice.
Intel goes up. Roll for stress as you see that this young woman sees.
I rolled a 6 on the stress, so
Well,
it
it
goes up.
up. Yeah. And I think that it's the fact that your daughter is dancing away in a cage on the side, and as she looks, she suddenly turns around and she opens her eyes and she sees Artie Rackham, who she also knew, and her mouth just falls open and she goes, and then she begins to blink and see all the horrors of everything that's around her that she's not been able to hear in the dancing of the music. But Bug is just like, Artie, you died.
Hallie, look what they did to me. They killed me, but I've come back to warn you.
It's all going right now, Artie. It's finally going right. All the things we talked about, we promised. It's going to happen. It's going to happen.
It's not.
Listen to the music.
This short method is not right. You've offended God. You should have stuck with the long plan that we devised. You sold out, Hallie. You sold out. But don't worry. The contract's wrong. There's something wrong with the contract and we can get you out of it. Listen to this man here. Listen to what he says.
I brought my lawyer. Like, yeah.
I wanted Professor Vogel to just dive behind the DJ set so he would, put his words into your mouth. But this works as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
do you bit, Professor Vogel?
But what I want to do is, as we were saying, as you say that, you hear a, oh God, look. And the man on the stage, who the red cap was toying with, is mercilessly killed. Vogel, you remember your words back to Quinn.
Mhm.
Roll for stress for me, please.
Fair.
The needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few or the one. Always remember that.
All right, Spock.
What psychopaths say. I rolled a 5, and I think my stress goes up.
I
Pretty
think your
sure
stress
it
goes up.
does.
Yeah.
Yes.
Quinn,
Yep.
that monster just killed somebody as you were coming towards it. What do? It stands up now and it lifts the body up above it, and it starts to dance and sway with the music around it, dancing in the trickling blood from his body.
You know, I'm going to say through the mic, grab the hat. If I can get that hat off and it doesn't get destroyed, grab it, burn it. And I will go ahead and I will take aim. I mean, I'm on a gantry with a sniper rifle.
You gonna shoot it?
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm
Roll
gonna
to
shoot that
confront.
red hood.
Roll to confront. And roll. I think
How many risk die?
4 risk die this time.
4 risk die this time. All right. Look at that. 5 on expertise.
5 on expertise. Nice. So you do 1 stress to it as you shoot it, but it does. You hit it, but it manages to stagger back and hold on to the hat as it staggers back, and its eyes glint in the darkness. And a razor blade extends from one hand of this like ragged homeless man's jacket, and these heavy iron shod boots beneath, and this scraggly, unkept face. And it just moving its legs, moving faster than you can imagine. It just like staccato, like runs across the dance floor and then leaps straight up onto the gantry next to you. Like I think maybe like swaying from below, like with this fevered grin on its face, like slashing at you with the razor blade. But you managed to roll out of the way because of risk. But it is now off the stage and in combat with you, as below Gilgamesh slams back, and on the stage, Professor Vogel pulls out the contract that you stole.
Before that thing ran off, Will, I don't want to engage it in combat, but so it can go off and do the thing it's going to do. I don't want to sort of rewind fiction. Can I steal its cap as it runs away?
I think that Art Rackham disappearing at this point in the conversation, just something like speak to me like whoop as I go and deal with the thing on the other side of the stage, would have ruined what you just set up.
So actually, the contract is completely void because both parties have to write their original names on the contract, and as like putting aside the fact that your performance would kill billions, and I mean literally billions of people, the contract itself is null and void because the parties who signed the contract under Fey law have to declare their righteous names, even if it is signed with blood.
But the names right there, and in the UV light, you can see
the real name
of
Robin Goodfellow.
Rumpelstiltskin.
Wow, that bastard. But Phil, actually, even in the case of...
Roll me the corporate thing to find the loophole in this, I think.
I want to find a loophole. So I do have the normal dice that everybody gets, the expertise, and you only live once, so let's add the stress as well. Holy shit, this is the worst roll I've ever seen.
Wow.
Best roll is a 2, which is crap.
But you have your specialism as an analyst available to you. So if you mark a point of stress, you can tick that and you can upgrade it to a 4 to 5.
I will defo do that.
Yeah. And
Excellent.
so
It does mean we owe you a heat, though, Will.
oh, does it? Is that what happens when you mark your thing? It goes, oh, because you take the bad result of the, yeah, it goes up. It's very
I've
significant to
gifted
have.
you that one.
Thank you. It goes, clearly the Fae definitely put by someone who can read the contracts. Jesus, they were never prepared for this. It used to be peasants were illiterate and they never had to worry about this. So yeah, the deal is that Bugs is going to be infamous and is going to live, is going to be known across the world, and all the music and everything is going to spread her name. But the problem is that that's to be a lie from the future, because the Fae Queen is the only name that is worshipped in the future. She will be famous, she will have her time, but then she will die and she will be forgotten. Now that's the thing that in the original timeline, Robin Goodfellow never had to worry about because she died. But if you tell her now, you avoid it.
Yeah. So I will tell her you won't be famous. You will be infamous for a very short time, and you will be forgotten and live or be forgotten in the shadow of the Queen. Do you want this?
No. I mean, you know how hard I work for this, Art.
You worked hard for it, but I had to pay with my life. You didn't want that, did you, Hallie? You didn't want that at all.
I think this is a role to do something else. And I think it's just a flat roll rather than anything, because she's not seeing through your disguise or anything like that. She's just trying to believe that this is the right thing to do.
So I can have the stress dice, can't I?
Yeah, you can have the stress die here. That's a 5 on both. So stress goes up. But you convince her. And Bug says, well, I was never going to settle for second fucking billing anyways. And then let's cut back to Gilgamesh as Rumpelstiltskin stands like, as maybe like, I think it was like spider scuttled up onto the side, like up onto the ceiling of this booth, right? Like as you fell back, you looked, she wasn't there, and she's like standing up on the roof like, this is all wrong.
Now at this point, were Mr. Clock to declare double tap, then as a vulnerability, then if I shoot her while declaring her true name, I can double the impact.
Yeah, I'll spend 2 intel, one to reduce stress and the other one for double tap.
Nice.
I thank you. Let's hope this goes well then, chaps.
Goodbye, Rumpelstiltskin. Boom.
3 risk die.
Yep.
And I will include the stress dice.
Oh,
that's a
tied.
6.
It's tied on the stress dice as well, though.
If I take down Robin Goodfellow, aka Rumpelstiltskin, then I'll settle for that at this point.
Mm-hmm. Who do I spend the heat to have them make a getaway?
Well, you know
what? Describe to me.
I have to chase them down before you can do that.
Oh, true.
Unless you've got a complication you want to use up.
But I can spend the heat to give them an extra resistance box, right?
Not a supernatural, no.
Not a supernatural, just
no,
a normal.
You can,
okay.
It's the named contractors.
Then describe to me. Roll for your risk. Your damage.
Yeah.
And then let's hear your description of this.
2 minus 1 is 1.
Oh, 1 again. So what's the option you take now that your armor has been ripped to shreds?
Exactly, and I've got no capacity to declare a second set. And I've used up its painful, I cannot use my expertise. Oh, I shouldn't have rolled the expertise dice. I apologize. It was a 3 anyway.
Yeah.
It is bloody. I will die after 1 more action without medical treatment.
Did you take its painful? I thought that's what you negated with the armor.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Yeah, so it's
Yes,
just
you're
painful.
right. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yes, it's painful. I cannot use my expertise. But God willing, I won't have to. And yeah, no,
Maybe she's like scratching across, like holding you, and then like, and maybe like her face is shifting and shifting and shifting, and then she shifts it to Peter, and she says like, someone you, and she goes like, oh, we could have made such deals, and that's when you pull that shotgun underneath her chin, right? And you say,
and actually, if it's okay with you, I'd like to cut her throat with a dew claw.
oh, nice.
Because I think there's a narrative symmetry in
Oh
that.
yeah, you plug her with a shotgun, she bleeds, but leaps up at you as you think that she just glamored herself to look dead, and then you have the thing and you go like, fuck off, Rumple.
Won't work this time, Rumpelstiltskin.
Yeah, straight through. Yeah, she's gone.
But that was a 6, and therefore I need to roll for stress.
And Mark Intel.
And Mark Intel. Good point. And that is a 6 on the stress dice, so stress goes up to 5.
Nice, riding it high. So Clock's convinced her, I believe. That's where we left off with that. The contract erupts into flame. The music, everything just suddenly like lurches, and like it just all sounds wrong. It's just, before it sounded like the most compelling like beat in the world. It's all out of tune. It's all gone. You see those dancers that came from nowhere. It's like clasp their hands to their ears, and they all just like step back into the smoke machine as it erupts out, and it starts to fade away, and it begins to dissipate. And the clubbers look around them, and one of them begins to scream in terror as they see the dead bodies on the floor in front of them. Up above, Felicity deals with a red cap that's right on top of her and is like holding on to the sniper rifle, like barrel with one hand, I think, and then slashing away with this razor blade.
I mean, good thing it's a long gun.
Yeah.
So it's grabbing the rifle and like trying to wrench it away and such, right? I'm going to narrate a real specific piece of hardware here, which is funny because it came up over the weekend. I have a sidearm, a Taurus Judge. Which,
I know what the Judge is. Yeah, the shotgun pistol, the old shotgun pistol that appears in a Call of Cthulhu scenario in No Security, wielded by an absolute asshole of a sheriff who thinks it's the Wild West still. So that's the kind of pistol you have, right?
You know what? Sometimes you got to get it close, and it gives me the advantage of a revolver, so it's not going to jam, and a shotgun.
So
I'm aiming for the head and the hat. Okay.
So declare a shotgun, because it's a big pistol. I know it's not quite as big as I think.
Yeah, it is not really close hidden, I don't think. That's, no. And then I will roll everything. How many risk dice?
4 risk die. Ooh.
6 on expertise.
6 on expertise and 6 on the risk dice. So your extra benefit on the expertise is going to be, I imagine, to shred that red cap entirely, right?
Yep. Is there anything I can do with marking my expertise to avoid consequences of risk dice?
No, not at all. But you could, if you had the space, you could declare armor, but I don't believe you have the space anymore.
I'm only at 4 check marks. I can absolutely declare armor.
Oh, yeah.
I'm heavy loaded, remember?
Yeah, true.
Finally, I may actually fill up everything that I brought.
Yeah, I'd love you to select a ceramic vest rather than just the stab vest, so you can use up those 2 slots just for old time's sake.
So what do I have to do with the risk die? I'm rolling for consequences, right?
Yes, yeah. So just roll a dice -1.
4
so
minus 1 is a 3.
So that is a choose a result, which means you can mark the armor to negate that hit. and you blow the red cap away. Your vulnerability has left it vulnerable, but it's going to crash down. And I think the best place for it to crash down is, oh, you know what? It's going to crash down into the dance floor of panicked dancers, and it is going to lurch to its feet. It's tattered shreds of the cap, like clutched in its hands, and it's like suddenly, like hungry looking eyes are going to turn towards the dancer who is stepping out of the cage. And what's going? And she screams in terror as it comes towards her. Mr. Clock, what do you do? You're muted.
Leap from the stage and stab the red cap.
Cool. That will only be 2 wrist die because currently you have shredded its what it derives its supernatural powers from. You do have to mark the armor, Reaper. Yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay, so rolling away. That's a 6 on the standard die, and then 2 risk die, yeah?
2 wrist die, yeah.
1 and a 3 on the risk die, so a 6.
Cool. How do you take out the red cap?
You
have that knife, I suppose.
Yeah, I think sort of slash its throat and watch its remaining blood drip out, basically flow out from it. Let's be supernatural. But yeah, let's have gouts of blood emanate from the red cap.
Nice.
So I rolled a 6, so I've got to roll for stress.
Mm-hmm. Obvious reason. This is your daughter in danger.
Yeah, that's fine. So stress goes up by 1.
Nice.
I will spend the intel I got to reduce that by 1.
Nice. And I think, I think that's what we call the end of the operation, to be honest, as, it's a panic-stricken fleeing from the club. It's going to be very easy to get out with all the things. It is no longer confusing to get out because you have severed the connection between Fairy and the real world by killing Robin Goodfellow, by killing all the other Fae, by breaking the contract so effectively. Yeah, Bucket has finally used all of his heavy equipment slots. It's finally paid off to have brought heavy for once, as opposed to usually a laptop and grenades, and that's all they may have brought to any operation. And DJ Bug is just like shell-shocked, had no idea any of this. It just felt so right when she was doing it, and it just had all the answers. Has just no clue. Was an unwilling, unknowing patsy in all of this. But you've stopped the dancing plague spread, and you've killed Rumpelstiltskin. So it's in Heat and Intel, I think, the debrief section. Is that right? Yep. So, did you achieve the stated objective of the operation? Yes, that's 1. Did you finish a supernatural? Yes, that's 2. So I remove this heat by 2, I believe. How loud did you go on this operation? I think there is 1 heat for the general way it all went down, frankly, but I think that was the minimum. No one did anything too huge here, so there's no extra ones. It's just the fact that you're out. And I'm going to include that as part of the, I believe that when you kill an operative of the supernatural conspiracy, heat goes up by 1 as well, because they'll, oh shit, someone's serious enough to kill our agents. So I'm going to include all of that into there. Everyone can remove 1 stress for completing the objective. And I think that is the end of that. And the benefits you've got there is that you've removed the mesmerism power from the Queen. The dancing plague no longer wields its strength. She can no longer call upon the tunes. Her glory is no longer sung and felt in the rhythm of the air. So the Queen no longer has the power of mesmerism. Obviously, you have also saved so many from the dancing plague in the future. and I will reveal a compulsion of the queen as well, automatically as a free one. Does that seem like a fair trade in terms of operational objectives? It's not one that's delivered you any new leads or anything like that, but you have, changed the future, saved billions. Cool. So, does that seem like anything else anyone wants to do here or say here, or should we just call an end to the session and move into stars and wishes?
I imagine that. Oh, gone.
No, I think that's a nice, that's somebody seen helping Michael Enders leave the club.
Yeah, it's actually Professor Vogel who helps Mr. Clock's daughter. I think when, before Mr. Clock horribly kills the monster, he would approach the daughter and try to lead her away before she sees that.
Don't look, kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, and I guess that's where we leave, is she is just sat like cup of coffee, telling it all the story to a police officer, wrapped in one of those blankets.
In the back of an ambulance, sat on the sort of step, as you always see.
Yeah. And disappearing off into the night, the operatives and a very confused DJ Bug, who I'm not even going to approach what happens when she finds out Art Rackham's not really alive and you're actually just wearing his hideous face stretched across it. Never does.
She never knows.
Never knows. No.
She never sees Art again.
Yeah, it disappears with the mists, right? Like, that's perfect. Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to stop the recording. Wave goodbye to the internet.